Welcome to the Rev Mel Show on TSRnetwork.com, where real people talk about real sex with real kinky people. How is everybody? I see that there's some people in the chat room so far. There's Tommy and there's Cover Sky. Welcome to the Rev Mel Show on TSRnetwork.com. Today is going to be a different kind of show. This is titled Conversation with Rev Mel. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be talking about the anticipation of the movie 50 Shades of Grey. I'll tell you something. So much commotion has been going on FetLife, on Collar Space, on private conversations all about the movie 50 Shades of Grey. I mean, I can't believe the things that I'm hearing. I mean, people are absolutely going crazy. Really, really crazy. I mean, they're talking about how it's going to alter everything. Everything's going to change. Everyone is having an opinion. Everyone is writing about it. People are starting to make jokes about it. People are starting to, make jokes about billionaires coming into the lifestyle. I mean, it is ridiculous. For the people that have never watched TSR Network, we are a live TV site for BDSM. We broadcast shows about education and safety, all about BDSM. If you're watching the show, please come into the chat room. All you have to do is go to TSRnetwork.com and then go to the tab that says Watch Live. And when it opens up, just click on the player and also come into the chat room. And if you want to come into the chat room and you want your name that you use in the lifestyle, all you do is sign in as a guest, erase guest with numbers, delete that, type in your name, pick an icon or a character, and come on in the chat room. And because this show is different than all the other shows. This show is dependent on people in the chat room. We are going to be watching everybody. Oh, Tommy says, I have to hit play. Yes. When you come in, you hit the player to play, and you'll be able to pick up right where we started. But the show's different because this is just conversations with me and the chat room. So if you've got a burning desire to share what you want to share about your views on 50 Shades of Grey, the movie, and we're going to be showing the websites, we're showing other websites. Somebody else sent me an amazing link for another film called The Mistress, which I'm more excited about seeing than 50 Shades of Grey. And because I teach at the Lear Desaad and I teach new people that come into the lifestyle, I have been having so many people that have read the book and they come into the lifestyle because they have read 50 Shades of Grey. And we're up in arms. Everybody's up in arms because 50 Shades of Grey does not really represent who we are as a community. And people are really scared because we're going to, come Valentine's Day, when that movie comes out, all of our dungeons will be packed, all of our munches will be packed, all of our sites will be packed. FetLife will increase probably about 500,000 or 1 million members. Collar Space, which used to be Collar Me, will probably also increase their membership. But it's going to, people think it's going to change. But we really want to talk about this because is it really going to change the way that we live our lifestyle? Tommy says, I'm not in the lifestyle, I'm in my lifestyle. I like that. Thank you. He goes, I hate that term. I know a lot of people do hate that term, but you know what? Sometimes we have to use terms that we don't really like in order to communicate with others. There's lots of people that are watching the show. I can see how many viewers there are. So come on in. If you are not in the chat room, come in and share in the conversations with us, for you can, give your point of view, because I'd really like to know what you think. This is not all about my opinion. But my show that I did on reviewing 50 Shades of Grey got over 10,000 100,000 people watching that show. And we're not talking about watching it all at one time. We're talking about since I broadcasted it and they're watching the recorded shows. So a lot of people have watched it. A lot of people, you know, have opinions of it. Tommy calls things fresh meat. So Tommy, you think that the people that are going to be coming in are fresh meat? Is that what you think? I'm going to wait till he replies. But the reason I've tackled this subject tonight is because I'm really curious. I mean, with all of the people that have posted, I'm going to read some things for you guys as we're waiting. Okay? Now, let's see. One of the guys on FetLife, a friend of mine, Zetsu, he talked about his problem with 50 Shades of Grey. And he says that he's worried. I mean, I know it was a joke. I know it's supposed to be humorous, but he was talking about how, you know, billionaire men are going to come in and steal all the women from all of our dungeons. First of all, I can't see billionaires taking their time going on FetLife, cruising FetLife, looking for the hottest chicks, going to the dungeons, you know, in their Porsches or in their sports car, looking for hot chicks. Because I tell you something, if they have the money, they have hot chicks wherever they go. And I don't think that's going to be very much of a problem. He says that billionaires, they taunt the little guy and they take his women. I don't think so. I found it humorous, and that's what we're doing today is we're going through some of the postings that I've seen on FetLife. And I can't read them all because that would be copyright issues. So, but I can form an opinion and I can kind of share some of that with you. So if you are watching the show and you're not in the chat room, pop on in and tell us what you think. Okay, so I think in that one posting, he said that it's going to get worse once the movie hits. He says you can kiss all the 18, 19-year-old girls goodbye. I think it's hysterical. I know it was done with a sense of humor, and a lot of people really liked it, and they got a big kick out of it. But let's really talk about this. Could this really happen? Will this really affect our life choice? You like that one? Is that better? Is that better, Tommy? Our life choice. Because I really firmly believe that we make a choice. We make a choice to be in BDSM, and Close Guy says, I'm excited about 50 Shades of Grey. In fact, I have a date with my honey to come and watch on Valentine's Day. And one of the reasons I'm having this show is because I met Clover Sky at a munch a few weeks ago, and she read all 3 books. In fact, at that munch, I promised that I would read all 3 of the books. I only read 220 pages of the first book, and I put it down. I mean, that was only my opinion, and we still have lots of people that are coming in that are watching the show. Please come into the chat room and watch it. Just go to TSRnetwork.com and go into watch live shows. The chat room is right there. Come and join us because we'd love your opinion. So she told me she really liked the book, and that was what kind of brought her into BDSM and the munches. And I got the biggest kick out of her because she's so sweet. She's such a cutie. And she's a really, really nice person, and she really wants this, and she really wants to have a BDSM relationship. She really wants to be able to really experience some of this. So I've asked her, I asked her if she came to the Lair de Sade at Venus Night, her and her significant other, and they got to see a demo and to sit down and talk to a few people about it. And I told her that there's a lot more to BDSM than what is written in the book 50 Shades of Grey. Remember something, 50 Shades of Grey is a romance novel. That's all it is. It doesn't really represent who we are, but we have to take a look at it and to see if it is going to affect our community at all with the inflow of a lot of other people coming in. Some people say it will and some people say it won't. But getting back to some of the posting, let me find another one. I like this one. This one was from Brack in Ohio. And he says, he starts to talk, this is where I want to thank Brack, you know, in Columbus, Ohio, because this is the first time I saw the actual the actual promo for the new movie 50 Shades of Grey. And so I was excited about seeing it, and I wanted to see the actors that were playing in it. And he talks about how do people get in the scene. They read the book, and he says that the idea makes us hot, and he keeps writing and writing, and he talks about that it is a gateway to maybe the lifestyle that we are in. And he does say that 50 Shades of Grey is a work of fiction. So that's what people need to understand, that it is just a romance novel. But like I said, everyone's up in arms. And interviewing people, and they're giving me their opinions of it. It's been very, very fascinating. Let's see the next one. Okay, the 50 Shades topic. Okay, this was started, there was a thread on John Buku that started 50 Shades. Is it good or bad for the kink community? And this one person, it's EO, is talking about that they don't know, they have mixed feelings about it. And they talk about, that it's good to have sexuality and sensuality. And but they say it's bad in the sense that media and Hollywood is going to put their own bullshit spin on it. Well, you know what? Let's talk about Hollywood spinning 50 Shades of Grey and making it. I was told by a writer friend of mine who told me that BDSM is going to be the new vampire craze, that everybody and their mother is looking for films and TV shows and all sorts of things and scripts that are all about BDSM. And if people have a script, this is the time for people to get it out there and to get it viewed. That's if 50 Shades of Grey was made in a movie that's even tolerable to watch. But let's really talk about the fact, is it really going to change the way that we live our life in BDSM? I'm going to go back into the chat room and see who's chatting and see what they're saying. Hello, Blacksmith. Welcome. Blacksmith says there'll be an influx of curiosity, but it probably won't affect much else. It will put us on the front line for a while. Yes, I agree with you that it won't really change how we really see it in our daily life in BDSM. But I have had hundreds of people come into my class at the Laird Assad. I mean, I have taught over 10,000 people in a matter of 12 years. It might even be more than that, and mostly new people that come into the lifestyle. And I just got a phone call, and I'm not going to answer it. You see that? There, I'm going to turn it off. Turn off my phone. There it goes. So I should be spanked for that. You like that? Aha, never mind. We got quite a few people watching. Please come into the chat room. I want your opinion. This is not about me up here just gabbing. This is about your people's opinions of how 50 Shades, the movie, is going to affect our life choice. So go to TSR Network, go to Watch Live, click in the chat room, come on in and enjoy the show, and please participate in it. So this is a different kind of a show. This is Conversations with Rev Mel. Normally I have interviews and I interview other people, but I thought this might be a little fun to do. So let's talk about things that have changed. We have Ashley Rains. Welcome in the chat room. We're so glad to see you. She's been a guest on TSR Network, and it's been wonderful to have her as she's coming into the chat room a lot and sharing with us. So come in and talk to Ashley Rains in the chat room. She's absolutely delicious and beautiful. And if she was a submissive, I would go after her, but then she'd have to call me Granny. Something like that. She's probably laughing. But let's talk about things that people thought was going to change the lifestyle. Let's talk about Story of O. And let me see if I can find the Story of O. I have it up here somewhere. I went through and I tried to find, okay, I'm going to do this for you guys can see this. Okay, the Story of O. Okay, when that movie came out, you know, a lot of people also thought that it was going to change the lifestyle because a lot of people read the book and the movie came out and people were going crazy about it. And that was kind of like one of the first BDSM movies that we were able to see. And it really didn't change much. It might have gotten some curiosity up there, but I don't think it really changed how we, I mean, we were kind of like in the closet during that time. We were basically, you had to go through newspapers in order to get, to meet somebody. They didn't have clubs like they have now. I mean, in Los Angeles, we have so many clubs, and I went to a great, the Hollywood Single Munch last night was awesome. I had a fabulous time. Tall in LA is in the chat room. Welcome, Tall in LA. Nice to see you. We'd love your opinion of what you view is going to happen when 50 Shades of Grey, the movie, comes out on Valentine's Day. And how many people in the chat room are going to watch and go to the movie screen or movie theater and see it? I don't know. We don't know. So we'll have to see. I want to go see it. I definitely want to go see it. But, we're talking about Story of O. That was an incredible movie. It brought a lot of people into the lifestyle. They've all enjoyed it, and people are still talking about the story of O. Then we had 9.5 weeks. 9.5 weeks was, I'll tell you something, I could have masturbated to that movie 24 hours a day. That movie made me hot. I thought, it was sexual, but yet also I thought that he was a predator, and I wanted her to run because I knew that she was going to get hurt. But this was way before I knew about BDSM. This was way before I discovered the kink part of who I was. And now I look at it a little differently. In fact, it might be a good movie for someone that is brand new in the lifestyle to watch. The Story of O is a good one for someone that's brand new, and that's a great movie to watch. 9.5 Weeks is another really good movie to watch. But every time there's a movie that comes out, people are like shaking in their boots. So Ashley, what do you think about the book 50 Shades of Grey, and what do you think how the movie is going to be? And everyone else in the chat room too, because the chat room's starting to fill up. There are people that are watching, lots of viewers. That's nice to see. There's lots of people that are tuning in tonight because I think that everyone has an opinion of it, and we want to hear what you have to say. So go to TSR Network, click and come into the chat room and join us. So another movie that I remember that came out that really kind of, that was a movie that didn't really hit the screen very well. They did viewing all over the city. I mean, they did all over Los Angeles. It was called The Pet. It was about these guys kidnapping a girl, training her to be the perfect slave. But the end result was, well, I'm not going to tell you the end result because it had really nothing to do with BDSM. It was about human trafficking, and it was they went to the BDSM community to ask their opinion of what they thought, and a lot of us were probably just pretty dismayed with it because it really did not represent who we are. And I think that's one of the problems that a lot of people are having with 50 Shades of Grey, because it doesn't really represent us. Are we all billionaires? It doesn't. I wish I was a billionaire. I would love it if I was a billionaire. I'd be doing so much more with TSR Network if I was a billionaire. And I'd be doing so much traveling all over the country. I'd love to go to Germany, to some of the events in Germany. But I'm just going to have to wait until until I sell TSR Network or whatever. Kevin is in the chat room. Welcome, Kevin. It's nice to see you. Welcome to the conversation with Rev Mel about the movie coming out of 50 Shades of Grey. So we went through some of the movies. If you're just, here, Ashley says, I think the difference between those movies and 50 Shades is that there is no social media at the time. It was more underground and quietly naughty. And I will agree with her. Social media has changed the way that we live our life choice of BDSM. I mean, we are on Facebook, we are on Twitter, we are on, look at FetLife. 2 million members, which is amazing. Who would have thought? Who would have thought 10, 12 years ago, 20 years ago, that we would be so open in our kink? And we are. Look at TSR Network 20 years ago, would have never happened. Kevin says 9.5 weeks did 6 million in the box office. 50 Shades has sold 100 million copies. Wow. Doesn't that give you chills? We're finally becoming I guess, a fad? Is that what's happening to us? Do you guys agree that we are now becoming a fad? Hollywood's going to make us into one. I mean, with the, you know, the 50 Shades of Grey. And we can't forget the movie that we all saw, Secretary. I mean, there's a lot of movies that came prior to 50 Shades of Grey. And there was also a French movie. I think it was a French movie. I wish I could remember. If anyone in the chat room remembers it, it's about a man that went to seek a mistress. And it showed about how they played, and, you know, she always put him in latex and all sorts of things. And, you know, he was always fighting it. Ashley says mainstream. Yeah, right now, we are mainstream. You know, we don't have to be hidden. This is a really good time, I think, for people that want to venture out. Because in the past, when you were kinky, you kind of felt alone. You kind of felt like there was nobody else that thought like we thought. There was nobody else that wanted to be spanked, or that wanted to spank someone, or to tie somebody up, or to use a knife and rub it up against someone's body, or to put needles in there, or fire play, you know, or all sorts of play that people normally would think that we would be crazy. But now we know that there are millions of people that are out there, and I'm talking millions. You guys know that I've always had, I kind of coined this phrase. And I've told this story many, many times when I was at DomCon, and people were watching, people were looking at us wondering what the heck was going on. And I went up to them, I says, I think that you have a question or questions. And they said yes. They says, what is going on here at DomCon with all the people in the latex and the leather and the collars and the high boots and the fuck me shoes? And I don't know what came over me, but I said this perfect phrase, and it was, ready for this? There is not a street in the United States that someone is not being tied to a bed, blindfolded, and spanked. We are not that much different than you. I mean, we are all over the world. All over the world in bedrooms are people doing the things that we do. Sometimes just, you know, at our weekly place that we go. We have Darren's in the chat room. Welcome, Darren. Our chat room's getting full up, and you know, I really want to start giving your opinions of 50 Shades of Grey in the chat room, so I can kind of share the conversation with you, because I think it's really important. But let's talk about, let me see if I can find it. Okay, let's talk about Secretary. I'm going to bring it up. Okay, Secretary was a really hot movie. And I can't really play it because that would be copyright issues, but I can show a photograph of it. I mean, this movie, I mean, I had a huge problem with her being a cutter, and then I kind of didn't like the end of it, how it ended up with kind of, what can I say, campy at the end. But that movie had us all going. That movie had us all there watching it. I'm going to say hello to everybody in the chat room. There we go. And it was interesting to watch the dynamics and to watch him. I mean, you know, Spader was absolutely fabulous in the movie. I thought that, I mean, he was very neurotic, though. I mean, he was peeking around corners. I mean, there was this great timing. But 9.5 weeks and Secretary and O, you know, influence us. And what about, what is that Garden of Eden? No, what was that? Please, I can't remember the name of the movie. It turned out to be a flop because it was so badly made. It was after the book. Oh, Quills. Oh, they're talking about Quills. Yeah, Quills. Quills also. Quills was an amazing movie. I mean, watching that performance, I mean, it, you know, the Marquis de Sade. I mean, who could forget that? So 50 Shades of Grey is not the first movie to come out. You know, it's going to be a romance novel about, supposedly about our lifestyle, but it's not. It's one person's relationships with her first dominant that she meets. Blacksmith says the play is minimal, yes, but it gets to the point. This is about, you know, the godfather of BDSM, you know, with his, extreme, tremendous writings. If you've ever read any of his works, I mean, it's pretty remarkable how the man thought. But he kind of, kind of put the blueprint down for a lot of the things that we do. They do have a lot of bondage in 50 Shades. Bondage is good, but is bondage only one part of, okay, in the chat room, is bondage only, is it us, or is it only one part of who we are? Because not everybody does bondage. I mean, what do you guys think in the chat room? Yeah, I firmly believe that there's many different things that we do in BDSM. I mean, that's why we're so diverse. I mean, we have people that like to do bondage. We have people that love to, worship, feet. We have people that love to wear latex. You have your leather dressers. You have, and which I like right now. The Lear Assad is doing a tie and suit night, which I think is awesome, because I'm very attracted to men in suits and ties. It's something that I've always dated men that were very elegant. And it's going to be rather nice to see, it has been rather nice to see men dressed up, in suits and ties. But we have all these different things. People like to do candle wax play. They like to do needle play. They like to just put, someone's nice ripe butt over the bed or over their lap and spank them. The spanking groups in Los Angeles are caught on like wildfire. I mean, so many people are going to the spanking parties and the spanking groups. And if you're watching the show, please come to TSR Network. You may be watching it from FetLife or from Twitter or Facebook, but come to TSR Network and go to Watch Live and come in the chat room, because we would love to have your point of view of what you think about how it will affect us. Tommy says, yes, lots of activities, but bondage often comes in somewhere. You're right, it does, because when we do a flogging or a spanking and we put somebody up on a cross, we normally, put their, put leather cuffs or cuffs on them and, hold them tight to a cross and spank them for they can't get away. I've often wondered, do we hook them up for they can't run away, or do they hook them up because it just gives them a sense of being trapped? Ashley Rain says, I barely got through half of 50 Shades because I'm overexposed. It's a different experience for someone that is experienced than it is for someone who isn't involved in the lifestyle. Yeah, I have to agree with you, Ashley. Reading it was very difficult for me to get through. When it came to the contract that was given to her in a car after having one sexual experience with this man, and it was a vanilla sex, it was not a BDSM sexual experience, it really turned me off, because that's not really how we do things. You don't give a contract to someone that does not know what they're going to be signing. And yeah, she did investigate it. I know that I've been told this before. She went in and she investigated it and did her research, but it's not the same. Going to classes is really important. We have classes all over the city of Los Angeles, and I hope that wherever, someone is watching from anywhere in the world, watching the shows, that you also have classes that you can go to and that you can learn. My class is an hour long at the Lear Assad, and this weekend it was packed. And it was a great class, and that was the tail end of the classes, which was how to find your perfect mate and what is collaring all about. And we didn't even touch on collaring because we were so involved in talking about relationships and how you meet somebody and how you find somebody. Tommy says a lot of the entire type kinky activities incorporate fluffy. Is that fully handcuffed? Yeah, I like to put handcuffs on somebody. I like to put them up against a cross. Then they kind of have to beg to kind of get off. Well, we're kind of getting off, though, so that's another story. But I'm going to show you another. Somebody sent me something. Let me show you. Let me bring up the 50 Shades of Grey one. Hold on one second. Remember, I can't. I wish I could. I don't think that legally that I can show any of those because of copyright issues. But this is their website. I got a big kick out of this website. I thought this was hot. Now, I've been places like that where you've had views like that, and a man standing in the window in a suit, and that kind of like really turns me on. I think this is really hot. But you can, you know, it talks about the story, okay, and then it plays the video, which we're not going to play. Okay, like that, just a trailer and the teaser. So if you want to see the trailer and the teaser, just go to 50 Shades movie and watch it there. But you know, I'm not sitting here trying to promote, you know, the movie itself, but I'm really curious about how people really really think about it and how it's going to affect. I keep on looking to see who else has come in the chat room. Tommy says, what's wrong with the story is romantic. Oh, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think that a lot of submissives would like a little bit, and a lot of dominants would like a little bit of romance into their relationship. I think it would be kind of cool. But let me show you one more. Where is it? Let me see if I can find it. It's another movie that's a friend of mine sent me just before the show was going to start, and I looked at the trailer, and I wish I could play it because I think that it is awesome, but I don't want to be sued. But it's an Australian movie, and it's called My Mistress. I don't know if anyone knows anything about this, and it was nominated for the Australia Writers Guild Award, and that's basically the movie there. And you know, it talks all about the screenings of it, and it has a little bit of, you know, of, I guess if I'm showing the website, I guess I could show just this. Let's see if this works. It may not. I mean, this shows just a little bit.
I'll do whatever you say. Whatever you command me to do, that's what I want. Whatever you want.
I don't know if you guys can hear it.
G?
Yes. Thank you.
Oh yeah, that was my favorite spot. I had to show that. I had to show her doing to me, that was like hot, you know. But there's other movies that are out there that are starting to, you know, there's going to be more. This is just the beginning, and that's what I'm trying to say, is that this is just the beginning of the movies, the TV shows, the reality shows that are going to be all about BDSM. You know how many people have talked to me about, you know, scripts, BDSM scripts. I know one person has just written a BDSM script. I know another one that is writing a BDSM script and it has investors, and I know other people that are having other shows that, I mean, it's going to be the next vampire craze, BDSM. So all the clothing, all the little things that we do, we are going to have people coming into our chat room or into our classrooms and into our dungeons. But will they maintain? Will they come as looky-loos? Will they have the endurance that a lot of us have had to have? Tommy says it looks rather stereotypical. I kind of liked it because from the female dominant point of view, I kind of like that. You know, you've got to have some sexuality and sensuality in it, or else it would be rather boring. If it was just tearing into someone's ass and doing a scene and not showing any sensuality, it would be different. But in the chat room, did you guys like that movie, The Mistress? We've got to wait for them because we do have a slight delay. I'm going to have some coffee. But I think that people will come into the lifestyle or our life choice. They will attend a few classes. They will buy a few toys. They will do a few things with their significant other, and they will lose interest. Because I think you have to really be wired for something like this. And this is, you know, one of the names that 50 Shades of Grey got was mommy porn. It was because there was a lot of women that were out there that were housewives that read the book and that felt that that it was very sexual and sensual, and they wanted to bring some excitement into their life. And some of them will be dragging their husbands in and their boyfriends and saying, let's do this and let's try this. And I think it's going to be really an interesting beginning of next year, and for we can actually see how it will affect us. But I think in the big picture of it, I think we've Tall in LA says more will come, and look around. The ones that are really into it will stay and others won't. Yes, I agree with you. I basically, from the influx of people that I've seen that came in because of the book when the book was first released, I mean, there was at least 10 people in one of my classes that all came in because they read the book, and it was mostly women. And I haven't seen very many of them come back because we're really not like the book. There's a lot more into BDSM than there is that was written on the pages of 50 Shades of Grey. I don't think we are a romance novel. I think we have romance. I think that we are very erotic. I think we're very sensual. I think that we do things to each other that will take you into subspace and dom space and move mountains. I think it's very beautiful to watch a beautiful BDSM kink scene when two people have chemistry and they're connected. It's like watching a beautiful dance. It's like watching grace in action. So, but until they actually start coming to the BDSM clubs and experiencing it. But the main thing is, I think that our community needs to continue teaching and educating, holding classes all over the place. Tommy says, deep down, women like to be dominated. Some women, Tommy, not all women. Not all women like to be dominated. Kevin says, I think my Mistress movie is more accurate. Most of the men I know wear suits to work and have high-powered jobs, prefer to bottom in BDSM. Tall in LA, exactly. 50 Shades is a love story. BDSM isn't. I've fallen in love with my ex-submissive or slave. We were in love with each other. And, we had a tragic ending, and like some relationships do. But I think that, there can be love, and it could be a love story. Blacksmith says, yes, mistress. Yes, mistress looking interesting. Thank you, Blacksmith. I can't wait to see it. Tommy says, why can't BDSM be about romance and love? But it can be. It can be about romance and love. Tall in LA says, LL, he's laughing. He says, I know a few who don't. Yeah, there are a few people who don't. There are a few people that are in it just for the power play, and they don't want that emotional connection. Tall in LA says, it can have romance, but it's not going to be a movie with the masses. That's true, and that's what Darren says in the chat room also. That's true, because the things that we do in BDSM, sometimes is rather brutal to the outside world. We call it safe, sane, and consensual, but how many actual people in the vanilla world that saw us play would actually think that we were safe, sane, or consensual? And they don't really understand. Tommy says, ideally, shouldn't romance occur before kink? That would be good, Tommy, if they could, but sometimes you might go to a dungeon, you might play with somebody, there might be some chemistry there, and you negotiate. I call that drive-bys. I don't do too many of them anymore. I used to. One of the reasons I teach at my classes is because I've made all of the mistakes that everybody makes when they come into BDSM. I mean, to sit and listen to my stories, the things that I've done, the things that I, should not have done, the safety issues. I mean, I made the mistakes. But BDSM kind of showed me and taught me that I really need to think before I actually sit down and play with somebody, or that I should actually think before, you know, being intimate with someone that I don't know. So it's caused me to be a little more cautious and to think things out. And I think that's healthy. And one of my fears is that a lot of young girls will be coming into the kink community, you know, and playing with just anybody and not really, and young boys too, and young men, and men too, that are submissive men that just want to be beaten and, you know, get with the wrong people. Tall in LA said, Tommy, I don't know about you, but kink without romance can be fun. It's just not romantic. So they're having this little conversation about romance and kink. There are some people that don't connect romantically, you know, in a kink relationship. Tommy says, I don't play with someone unless I'm involved with them. Yeah, I don't either. I've been playing a little bit more lately. I've met some really interesting, fun people that I really like, but when you don't have the chemistry there, it isn't long-lasting. Kevin says, my slave thought it was very romantic when I carved my name into her stomach with my knife. We are kinky motherfuckers, are we not? Oh, but I wanted to bring up all the different movies, and also, you know, all the books that were out there, like the Marketplace. You know, I interviewed Laura, the author of the Marketplace series last week, and it was an amazing interview. And I've interviewed other people that have written, you know, many books on. If you go back to some of the archives, you'll see some of the publishing companies that I have interviewed, like oh, can't remember. It's terrible. I need to write these things down. But, you know, there's a lot of books that are out there that have not gotten crazy. The woman that wrote 50 Shades of Grey was an amazing marketer. She knew how to market her book. You know, she really knew how to make people take notice of it. She started out in the fanfare of the Twilight series, and she was really writing to that age group of the Twilight viewers. And she started, you know, putting out, chapters of her book, and people started wanting more because they've never, you know, really read anything about BDSM before. And she really, really knew how to market the hell out of 50 Shades of Grey. And I really hope, I don't know, I want to ask the question in this chat room, what is your expectations of 50 Shades of Grey? Are you hoping that it will become successful, or are you hoping that it will not be a successful film? I hope that it'll be a successful film, but my concern that it's not going to paint us in a good light because of the main character. Because the main character, I understand, is a narcissistic sociopath that has some really hard issues. And I know we've met a lot of narcissistic sociopaths in our lifestyle, but, you know, that's one of my concerns, is that that will put us in a bad light. Tall in LA says timing is right too. Vanilla World is ready for kink and BDSM, and I think we are too. Blacksmith says we have to be conscious of newbies and the predators out there. The bad stuff will all reflect on us to the outside world. Yes, I agree with you. And Tall in LA says thanks mostly to the social media. Social media can either make you or break you. I mean, it really can. If you get social media interested in what you're doing and you get a huge following, I mean, you can move mountains. You can sell them anything. It's really hard to do. I have not figured out, you know, the whole social media. I am on Facebook, I am on Twitter, and I mean, I spend half of my time working on social media to build up TSR Network. I'm on, you know, FetLife, where people are getting sick of me posting only about the shows. So what I do is I try to post and make comments on other people's posts, and I really do. I mean, if I see you're posting, I will make a comment, but I come from a positive point of view. I won't say anything negative about your posting. I will say something positive. I think that we need more, we need to be more conscious of what we do to other people. I think we need to be a little more compassionate, especially with so many newbies coming in. Tommy says, narcissistic sociopath. Isn't that a dom? Not all doms are like that. No, Tommy, not all doms are. Tall in LA says, which is why 50 Shades has been so successful. Yes, it's because of the social media. She knew how to work it. She knew what to do. And she got in the market at the right time. Remember something. There's a lot of things that have changed BDSM. The fashion industry. People started wearing chokers and started wearing high thigh-high boots and started wearing, whips in their, on their buckles, and started wearing leather and started wearing latex. I mean, fashion put us right out there. When the goth community, I've got to say that right, yeah, the goth community, when they started having all the goth music clubs and dance clubs, and people started doing demos in these clubs, people wanted to be like us. And so we had a huge, I think it was about 12 years ago, a huge influx of people coming in from the goth community who was going to a lot of these dance clubs and was seeing people perform, like Sal and other people, and they wanted to be them. And right now, those people that have come in through the BDSM, goth clubs, not goth clubs like golfing, but they are now some of our leaders in our community, because they came in, they were curious, they wanted to know, and they educated themselves. I mean, they basically educated themselves. And I mean, some of them, one person, that Mistress Melissa is an amazing woman. And she was a performer. She was one of the performers. Awesome performer. I mean, she's one of the highly respected female dominants in our community. And she has taught so many people. She has come up from the ropes and she has made a name for herself. She's amazing. We've had so many people like that have come up through the dance clubs that were basically doing BDSM scenes, at dance clubs where people were getting drunk, playing music, and, smoking weed. But they stuck with it. We're going to have the same thing with 50 Shades of Grey. We're going to have people entering that are going to be curious. And the people that will stay are the ones that want to do the work. Blacksmith said we should, as a community, try to get out in front of this. I agree with you. I have been saying that for the last 12 years. There are so many people that can't come out publicly in BDSM because we're still kind of considered taboo, and more we are not considered taboo as more and more movies come out. Like Secretary was an awesome movie. I mean, so many people came in because they saw Secretary. They wanted to know more about it. It's like baby steps, everybody. Story of O, we were still hidden. You had to go on, answer ads in a newspaper, send it out in snail mail, wait for that. You had to know somebody in order to go to a club. We were hiding. We didn't tell anybody what we were doing. Then you had 9.5 weeks, and people started doing spankings and doing food play and all sorts of stuff like that. And you could really see what, what a dominant personality looked like. Then we had Secretary. And if somebody can remember that movie, it's called not East of Eden, something of Eden. It was a movie with, she was the comedian that had a talk show, and it was all about an island where there was a woman dominant that had the island, and I can't remember the name of it. But if anybody can remember it, please put it in the chat room, because that was another movie that came out that really showed a lot about mistresses and subs and submissives. It wasn't done very well. It was done more on the comical aspect of it, but it brought out, more and more people coming out into the community. When you hear kink, it used to be we're demented. And also with, you know, with changing the medical rules on BDSM, I mean, we are no longer considered sick people. They've relaxed on some of that. I mean, you can't put somebody into an institution anymore because they like to get pain or they like to give pain. Tommy says Diane Barr. No, I don't know who Diane Barr is. No, that was in the chat room. So we are going to have a lot of people coming in. They're going to look. They'll come into Rosie O'Donnell. Yes, Rosie O'Donnell. What was the name of the movie? Anybody know? Thank you, Darren. It was Rosie O'Donnell. She was in a movie, and they put her in leather or latex and boots, and she was an investigator. Cloven Sky says, thanks for mentioning these movies for all of us newbies. We will watch some of them tonight. Yes, watch them because they're interesting. Learn by them. Pay attention to the dialogue. Pay attention when people talk about, well, let's talk about dialogue. Let's talk about safe, sane, and consensual. What does that actually mean? It means that we try to be safe. We are sane people. We are, consensual means that we agree. So all of these things, you know, there's certain terminology that we use. And if people that are new go to the classes, and that's why it's really good for people that are new to watch these shows, because we talk about this all the time. You know, if you have someone that's new and they don't know anything about BDSM, send them to our archives. Have them watch some of the interviews. The interviews, the guests that we have are so informative. I mean, they are so amazing. And the information that they give out to the masses is incredible. I mean, it's not just me like talking today like I am today, but it is about giving correct information out there for people could understand it. And because there are rules, there are certain things that we need to do in our community. You know, Tommy goes Sleepless in Seattle. No, Tommy, not Sleepless in Seattle. That was not a BDSM movie, but that was funny. That was really funny. But the chat room is what's really important. People come in and they ask questions, especially to our guest, and they give us a lot of perspective of how they feel and the questions that they want or the answers that they want. Fatal Instinct. No, Fatal Instinct, Tommy's talking about Fatal Instinct. That was passionate sex scenes in the beginning, but then she became brutal and killed the rabbit. It was horrible. And she was pretty much of a nutty case person. There's only been a few BDSM movies, but I think, and oh no, wait, what's that British movie? Oh, there's a British movie about a religious people that said that you can't do this, and this guy goes in, researches, and he's under detective, and oh, what is the name of it? I forgot what the name of it is, but it was an awesome movie. I will find out what that name is because I have a copy of it, and I will post it on TSR Network in the TSR Network group on FetLife. That was an awesome movie, and it was about a mistress, and it was hysterical, and it was a really good movie. We've had some good movies, but has it really changed us? Any last thoughts in the chat room? Any questions or statements that you guys want to put out there? Because we only have a few more minutes, and because our shows are only an hour long now. We can go longer, but I don't know if you guys want to. Normally, you know, an hour is quite long enough. They're out there calling Brady the Brady sequel. Tall in LA says, Rev, I've got a question. Any idea how many newbies are here in the chat room? I think there's only one at the moment, Tall in LA, and I met her at a munch. She came to Venus Night at the Lyre de Sade to one of the classes, and she's very inquisitive. She wrote me today and asked me if I knew of any books or movies that she could watch, and I told her that I would write her later, but she is here watching the show, so we've given her quite a few list of Exit to Eden. Thank you, Tommy. That was the movie, Exit to Eden. So so Cloven Sky, if you look at Exit to Eden, that is one. It's comedy, but there are some things that you will learn in it, and everybody was up in arms when that first came out too. So you know, we're going to continue. But I think they said, Tommy says she is a pro-dom. Yes, pro-dom. The woman was a pro-dom in it. And then there was an investigator. She was investigating it. I think that our community has to be prepared for when people start coming in and asking questions. I think that, you know, we're already set up, especially here in Los Angeles, I do know, but I don't know anywhere else around the country. I know Detroit has awesome classes and awesome places to go. Arizona, I know that Phoenix has great clubs, great places, great education. Oregon has, I've been interviewing lots of people from Oregon, which have, you know, they're setting up lots of classes. I think that if our community starts to prepare and sets up classes all over the country and makes it available for people that can come and gets the word out there that, you know, that they should come to classes, I think it's important. I think that the more we talk about it, the more we educate, the safer people will be. We will hurt you, but we will never harm you, and that is how I live by. But I still love to give pain to someone. I love to see tears. Tall in LA says, bring on the newbies, and I agree with you. Bring them on. I know the clubs that I go to here in Los Angeles, we are ready for them. We have S&M classes, S&M 101 classes in every dungeon that is in Los Angeles. The first one was the Lear Assad. They had the first S&M open form class. It started 14 years ago with Lee Rice, who did an amazing job. I took it over 12 years ago. I've been teaching it for 12 years. I've only missed maybe 5 classes in the last 12 years, and I'm very passionate about teaching new people that come into the lifestyle. I think it's really important that we educate, because we do not want any harm to come to anyone, and we want to make sure that we get the information that is right out there. And that's my only concern with 50 Shades of Grey, is that it's not giving correct information. If we can just focus on the fact that it is a romantic movie, a romantic novel, and it's really not about our life choice and lifestyle as we see it. And I really hope that they had a really good person on set that could really tell them, you know, what was right or what was wrong. You know, that they hired somebody that knew about BDSM, because yeah, our fear is that Hollywood's going to take and twist it. But maybe if they just concentrate more on the relationship and the dialogue part of it, in the romance, maybe people will have to come and search for the real truth and the real answers to some of their questions. And that's where we as a community can come together. And we need to come together. And what I think I might do, I think I might open up a link page on TSR Network where I can put in, anybody can send me, you know, places around the country that teach classes for newbies. And it might be a good place to have that, because we really do want to make sure that we come together as a community and work together. It's so important. It is the most important thing. Any last comments in the chat room? I'm going to give them a couple more seconds because of the delay, because it is 9 o'clock. Tall in LA says, right or wrong, people will find their own level of what works for them. And I agree with you 100%. Blacksmith said, Blacksmith, it is so good to see you. I have not seen you in a while. Blacksmith used to run my my shows. That's the right one, right? Say yes. And it's the right person I'm talking to, I think. Say yes. Please, say yes. I hope it is. If not, I apologize. Clover Sky says that is correct. I'm talking about Tall in LA, about what his comment was. But I think that BDSM community is on its way of coming out of the closet. I don't think we will ever be fully out of the closet, but I don't think in our lifetime that we will see it. But I think that we see small little increments of it, and where where we get to express ourselves a little bit more freer than the predecessors before us who had to hide. Today we do not hide. We may not be looked down upon in a very good manner, but who knows someday. And as I said, there's no street in the United States as someone is not being tied to a bed, spanked, or blindfolded. You know, and I really believe in that. Yes, Blacksmith, I love you. It is great to see you. And for all the people, Tommy, Darren, Clover Sky, Blacksmith, Ashley, Tall in LA, and all the other people that were coming in and out, Kevin, it's really great to be back live on TSR Network and broadcasting the shows. And I want to tell you all that I want to thank you all so much for watching the show. It is an honor to be producing these shows to our community. It is really an honor, and I want to thank you all for watching. And tomorrow night, Miss Cassie is going to have, her name is Rose, look, Cheryl Rose or something like that. She was one of the originator starters of Threshold and all sorts of things, and she's packed full of information. I mean, I'm so excited about her coming back on the show, and that's at 9 o'clock tomorrow night on TSRnetwork.com. And please, if you're not a part of TSR Network on the group, FetLife, please join the group and put in your 2 cents. And Blacksmith says you should do a documentary. Or oh, we have so much. We have 12 years of interviews. Can you imagine if I could get an editor to edit it and really make a documentary about BDSM? 12 years of it. 12 documented years, which is amazing. But for now, I have to say good night. I love you all. And we are changing the world one vanilla at a time. Please keep safe, everybody. I love you. Good night. Yes, good night, Tall in LA. Good night, everybody. Bye-bye.